Hi, I'm Nikki, the Obsessive Bookseller, and welcome to my channel. Today I would like to review Leviathan Falls by James S.A. Corey. It's the final book in the Expanse series, and I actually finished reading it about 3 months ago, but it's taken me this long to let it percolate in my brain. The final verdict? It was not everything that I hoped it would be. I had a lot of expectations going into this book. So many things I wanted to see happen, very specific questions that I wanted answered. And there were a couple of things answered in a very vague and convoluted way, but nothing in a way that really satisfied my curiosity. It's like we've been building towards something this whole series, and the payoff was kind of a letdown. And thank goodness for the epilogue, or else this would have been a total disaster, but as it was, it left me feeling like I really wanted more. At least from a series story arc perspective. The character arcs in this one were actually pretty good. The way the ending was presented was actually really well done. Very beautifully written, very subtle, very true to Abraham's work if you've read anything else by him. After finishing Nemesis Games, the 5th book in the series, one of my all-time favorite books, it was so earth-shattering and amazing that I started calling this series my all-time favorite sci-fi. And then it took a weird direction. It focused more on the Expanse part of the Expanse series. It was clear we were starting a secondary story arc that would sustain through the end of the series. And so I went with it. I'm like, okay, as long as they're a good payoff, it justifies all this buildup, but there better be a good payoff. And then Timon's Wrath, the book right before this one, was an absolute slam dunk. It was so good. All of those emotions and sense of momentum that lend themselves to a finale in a series, that's what I felt when I read Timon's Wrath. The only problem is it wasn't actually the finale. It peaked in that book and then petered out into what we have here in this final novel. There are a few specific reasons why I think this book wasn't the strongest. The conflicts felt so contrived. It felt like, from a momentum standpoint, like we ended the series in the 8th book, and then they needed something else to write about in this one, some sort of conflict to perpetuate the story. And so the antagonist in this book, we've never seen this person before. And while I really love reading about like that deep, rich character exploration that these authors have been so good at producing through the whole series, so I loved learning about this character, but I don't think she was necessary to the story in any way other than just as a vehicle of plot advancement. So all that build up towards this final book, and now that I've read the final book and I'm disappointed at the payoff, I don't really think we needed all of that extensive build-up. I think they should have taken the momentum in book 8, the wow factor in book 8 that knocked me on my butt, and combined it with the meat from this story. Get rid of that antagonist altogether and combine it with this and give a little bit more at the end to explain what the heck has been going on this entire series. This is a very dialogue-heavy book where the characters are constantly explaining theories to one another. And so they couldn't take 5 minutes of like all of this extensive theory explanation and actually have them explain what the heck has been going on. No, they left it to like vague impressions, and I find that absolutely maddening. Like, I want something solid. This one really bothered me, the fact that it didn't end up where I hoped it would be. And I've been claiming very like passionately since book 5 that this is one of my all-time favorite series. And now I'll still suggest it, but I feel compelled to offer disclaimers like, well, it's good until book 5. And then if you can make it through 6 and 7, then 8 is great too. But see, that's from an overall story arc standpoint. If I'm evaluating just the joy I feel while reading it and how much I love being immersed, deeply immersed with these characters, they are so human and real feeling. So I actually enjoyed the process of reading it and would recommend it for that as one of the most brilliant character studies I've ever come across. And Avasarala will always be my chosen spirit animal. I love that character so much. And Amos is a close second. So I want it to be clear that what I'm complaining about is overall plot arc. Promises that were made at the beginning of the series that weren't delivered on. If you're going from strictly a character standpoint, very satisfying. No complaints there. I feel like everything made sense in that regard. I'm coming in at a 2.5 out of 5 stars for this ending. It was better than okay, but I'm not sure if I liked it or not. I'll probably bump it up to 3 stars on Goodreads just out of sense of nostalgia for the series as a whole. Now let's look at some other books you might like. Planetside by Michael Mamet. If you've seen any science fiction review, you'll note that I always include this book in my other books you might like section, because you need to read it. It's my favorite. It is so good. It's pretty much everything I love about The Expanse, only in a condensed novel. If your favorite thing about The Expanse was the sense of mystery and the quick wit of the main characters, then this is a good pick for you. I've made the comparison before. Colonel Butler in here is very reminiscent of Abasawala. Like that no BS, I'm going to get things done and do it in a way that I see fit kind of thing. I love it. Fortune's Pawn by Rachel Bach. If your favorite part of Expanse was the alien interactions and kind of the cool world-building otherworldliness of those aliens, then this one might be a good pick as well. The aliens in this one are so well done, very ethereal, and I enjoyed reading about them quite a bit. The Cruel Stars by John Birmingham. If what you liked about The Expanse was the vast array of different characters that we bounced between and seeing everything kind of culminate and come together, that's what this book did really well. I have some complaints about where it went. I didn't love the end of the book, and I didn't love some of the language used in the book. For me, profanity is an art, and this book did not use it artfully at all, and it drove me crazy. So for those couple of reasons, I never continued in the series, but I could see it being a good comparable pick. Velocity Weapon by Megan O'Keefe. If your favorite thing about Expanse was the technology and the novels that were really grounded planet-side with the conflicts within our own solar system, then this one would be a good pick. And finally, Old Man's War by John Scalzi. If your favorite thing about Expanse was the cheeky humor, the quick wit, and you really couldn't care less about the Expanse part and the proto-molecule, read Old Man's War. It doesn't take itself too seriously. Thank you so much for joining me on this review, and I hope to catch you next time. Bye.